Hey everyone, Ashley May and Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Form. The DRF race of the day for this Sunday is out at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita. They have a stakes race, the Baffle. But before we show the slate here, it is President's Day weekend. So with that 3-day holiday weekend, you can get a discount here for 15% off in the DRF store. Use the coupon code PRES25 for that discount. So I mentioned we're going to look at the Baffle here, 3-year-olds on the downhill at 6.5 furlongs. And it's a field of 7, Mike, but I think two horses are probably going to take a lot of the respect in here, the 5 and the 6, but also there's some interesting types. FOMO Joe didn't run too bad last time out, as well as Triple Diamonds.
Yeah, there are other ways to go for sure, but I think you're right. The 5 and the 6, they just seem like the logical starting off points for this race, particularly the 5, probably Scipio, who, he's really held his own with some good horses right along from the start of his career, and he's just going to cut back in distance here. If he handles the cutback, he's supposed to be tough.
Look at the time form pace projections here. I think that's usually key on the downhill, and don't see a fast pace projected. You see that the 7 on the outside gets the benefit of the draw. That's Maximus. He's shown speed throughout his career. The big question, though, will that translate on the cutback onto the downhill?
Yeah, I mean, he does have a lot of speed. He's switching surfaces here, and he's also cutting back in distance for this. We'll see if he handles the surface switch, because that's the major question in front of him here.
And you can see at the back of the pack, the 5, Scipio, has the LP flag. He's been rolling from off the pace, typically minus last time out, but those have been typically around 2 turns. We'll jump in here right with the number 1, Game Warrior. We haven't seen this one since Del Mar back in December, and took him a bit to graduate. Then he faced Scipio last time out. He was 4th in that field and now has a barn change.
Yeah, I mean, this horse is okay. If nothing else, he was, just sort of progressing from race to race throughout his career. So that's a good sign for him. I liked his maiden win, even though it didn't come back fast. Last time in that DeMille, that was a really, really slow pace. I don't want to be too hard on him for that race. He just sort of went evenly around there. I can see him handling the cutback and maybe being competitive here.
We'll look at the number 2, Triple Diamonds, last time out. This one's in great form for trainer Mark Klatt. 2 for 2 now in the career, and handled the 5 furlong to 6 furlong stretch out very nicely, and had a little bit more work to do here on the slight stretch out, but thought this was a really well-timed ride by Umberto Rispoli.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is good stuff, though, from Triple Diamonds. I like the ride, but this is good stuff from this horse, because once he altered course there that you saw in mid-stretch, it's not like he just immediately came clear. He had to alter course, and then he's between horses having the duel to the wire. He still got the job done. That was a good performance. I thought his debut was a good performance, even though it was another narrow win. This horse a little underrated, maybe?
I think so. I think there's some upside with him, and obviously the barn's doing well, but you just wonder if he'll trip out in this spot as well. He doesn't necessarily have to be too far off of it, but he can be forward, as we saw on debut. The number 3, Style Cats, up next. He's 1 for 1 on the grass, and I think we've talked about him before, or spoke about him in the past, especially in the Cal Cup Derby. What was kind of the move there? And honestly, he ran better than I expected, Mike. I didn't think he'd handle 2 turns on the dirt the way that he did, but I do think he might be a better turf horse. I just wonder if he's kind of facing a tough group on Sunday.
I think he might be just facing a way tougher field here. We'll see how he does. I don't want to knock him too much, because I do think he's going to be a price in this race. He's 1 for 1 on turf, but it was against Calbreds, and he got a perfect trip in that race to just get it done.
The 4, FOMO Joe, up next here for Ryan Hansen. This one was able to win on debut, but more recently, we'll take a look at the Eddie Logan. And listen, he was 16 to 1 in this spot. He wasn't technically supposed to run well. I thought he ran really well. Now, a couple of things to take away, though, Mike. It's a mile race. It's different. I do think he should probably be actually a little bit better sprinting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how his speed translates as they cut him back in distance again, because his speed alone could make him dangerous in here. Actually, his debut was pretty good, if only because it's not like they let him get loose on the lead. They challenged him early. He was up for that, and he won that race pretty convincingly. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what to do with his Eddie Logan last time. He did run well in there. He was crumbling. Yeah. I mean, you can't go slower than he was going on the lead in that race. So I just don't really know what to make of it. He feels like he'll take a little money in here too. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted with this horse.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I mentioned, I think he ran better than expected just based on the tote board. But you talked about the fractions. We're talking 24 and 1, 51, and then 115 in a mile race. And you still lose. I do think the horse that beat him, though, is a very nice horse. The number 5, Scipio, up next here for Richard Baltus. You talked about it earlier. I mean, the level of competition that he's kind of faced and carried. We're talking about deep waters for a then 2-year-old and now making his 3-year-old debut. He finally graduated. I just thought his efforts, even 2 and 3 back, they're really good. Even though you're a maiden facing winners, they're really respectable efforts. He gets blinkers off in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, they ran this horse in 3 really tough stakes races as a maiden, and he ran really well in all of them. Again, he was in that DeMille 2 starts back. That was a super slow pace that was one wire to wire. This horse was last, and he came running for second. I thought that was a really good performance. They obviously found the right spot with him last time. They kept him closer to the pace. He was a short price. He easily handled that field. They come right back into a stakes race with him. I'm not that worried about him cutting back in distance, Ashley, and Pratt's going to keep them out.
And unfortunately, he'll probably be a short price in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
spot. The 6 Freedom's not free up next. The other Mark Glatt horse in the field we mentioned, he sends out Triple Diamonds. This horse on debut, I think, ran pretty well when you look at who he faced. Bullard, who's gotten some hype behind him, but those are 2 dirt races to kick off his career. And it just seemed last time out when we show this replay, he really put his A game on and really took to the grass. He was forward from the gate in the 6 furlong event. And I just think the way that he kind of gears down late, he looks like a serious horse. And out of the 2 Mark Glatts, I have to think he'll take more respect with that flashy figure.
Yeah, he's got the figure that this should draw some money his way. This is his turf debut. He obviously handled it really, really well here. And he's just much the best. I don't know what kind of field he was necessarily beating there. Actually, maybe I don't know if you dug into it at all. I don't know. The horse that he easily beat there was a first-time starter. The horse that finished second, and he was the favorite. I don't know. That horse has come back and lost again at another short price. I'm not sure if he beat a good field, but he looked good doing it.
Yeah, and you kind of look at the horses towards the back of the pack that have run back. They have not run well, but you mentioned the runner-up. Second next time out with a comparable buyer in the 70s. Then we'll round out the field here with the number 7, Maximus, which we saw from the time form US pace projections. He could be in the mix early. Go to the race 2 back. I know it was the Bob Hope, but he was kind of chasing the pace, and they went blistering there at the 7/8 distance. He's going to try a new surface, blinkers off. There's a lot of question marks around this horse.
Yeah, he's got speed because you're right. That Bob Hope was a really fast pace, and he was after it. I don't know. I didn't find any real interesting turf pedigree for this horse. He's got to be, I think, a lot better on turf than he is on dirt if he's going to beat this field.
All right, the Baffle is the Sunday DRF race of the day. Do not forget, you can get free past performances on the website for all of the races of the day, each and every weekday and on the weekends. So we'll take a look here at the top pick time. Mark Glatt has a couple. Scipio's the big name probably on paper with that resume, but we're both, I think, trying to be a little bit creative. We don't have the morning line, but I do think Triple Diamonds will offer value and has done little wrong so far.
Yeah, I felt like he had to be a decent price in this race, and I just like both of his starts here, so I wanted to give him a shot here. I thought Scipio was the horse to beat.
And I'll use Scipio in at the 3rd spot. Freedom's not free. The other Mark Glatt horse, excuse me. He got that flashy fig. I think the price that I'm looking for on Triple Diamonds, I'm not sure what you think, Mike, is about 6 to 1.
Yeah, I would hope he'd be at least that against this field.
All right, we both like Triple Diamonds. 2564 for Mike, 2654 for me. It's the Baffle, the Sunday DRF race of the day. Good luck.